All right. So this is an intro video to a video that I did, an interview with my buddy, Marc, who's not really my buddy. He is my buddy, but he's also the broker of my real estate office, which means he's my boss. He's also my real estate coach, which again means he's my boss. Anyway, so I bought all this podcast gear that you can see. I don't know if I'm doing a podcast, but at least it makes the video and the audio better. And I said I wanted to interview him. So this is a clip from the interview. We didn't get video for the full thing. Anyway, this is a section where we talk about the rental real estate market. Also, he and I have like super good rapport because we're friends anyway. So we kind of go off topic, I think, a little bit, but we try to keep it mostly to real estate. So anyway, enjoy the clip. And if you want to hear the full audio, I'll put that in the description. And if you have anybody else that you think I should interview, because this was really fun to do, let me know. And we're back.
All right. By the way, that should be the part in there where you do the plug of, ladies and gentlemen, this is Justin Filler, professional real estate agent. I want to remind you, if you need help buying, selling, or investing in real estate, I'm your one-stop shop.
I'll have to pay my own ad time.
My number is
858-442-6919.
Ta-da! There we go.
And if I've cold called you, it's 760-237-8133.
Which is a lot of you out there, because I make this boy cold call a lot.
Yes. Don't look for that number. You've probably told me to go do something to myself. Hopefully it's all nice. Hopefully you told me to go pick some flowers. I don't know, but...
So anyway, back to what we were saying. So the rental market. Rental market's still very strong. Just like the housing market for sale, it's still a shortage.
Okay.
I can tell you the last two vacancies I've had,
Yeah.
They did not sit vacant. When I put them on the market for rent, they didn't sit vacant for more than a week.
Was one of those Bob Kramer?
One of them was Bob Kramer. Thank you, Mr. Kramer, if you're watching this. Yeah, they're great people.
Yeah. The Grammers, people I met cold calling actually that referred into him. They struck up a connection, and he had their place in Oceanside here rented. It was in Natoma Way?
Yeah.
Natoma Way. He had their place rented in like a week.
Yeah, and not only that, their tenant that had been there for like 2.5 years, we not only re-rented it, we bumped the rents. They got an extra like 15%, 17% over what they had were getting before.
Wow.
So yes, we do great. I do great work. What can I say? So that's going on, and I just recently had some tenants that had to break their lease in order to move north to take care of family that's been impacted by COVID. Mm-hmm. And of course, my philosophy is always work with them. Mm-hmm. I do not believe, excuse me for saying this, I am not an asshole to people.
Yeah.
I really believe there comes a point with which social compassion and cooperation gets so much more done. And so much less wear and tear on the body, the mind, the soul, and typically the pocketbook. So anyway, the tenant here in town that needed to move out early, I was very cooperative. I was like, this is how this is going to work. This is what we're going to do. Is that acceptable to you? Mm-hmm. Right? As an example, I charge my landlords a certain fee to replace a tenant.
Right.
By the lease, they were responsible for making sure it was professionally clean. The carpets were done when they vacated anyway.
Yeah, of course.
I told them, look, I'll handle all that. I'll use my basic services. It'll save you money. Made it easy for them.
Yeah.
And that property will end up hitting the market here probably in about another 8 days. I guarantee I'm going to be able to turn around, rent it again, and probably rent it for another 10% or 15% over what the past tenants were in there for.
Okay. So that's a good, I guess, finger on the pulse. Mm-hmm. But there's got to be some kind of consideration for, coronavirus, I would say, has changed more than the other markets, the rental market the most, right? Or is that wrong?
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
You might be right. I'm not going to say you're wrong. Yeah. I just haven't seen that, not at least at my end of the practice that I run.
Well, and the only reason I say that is because in these landlord-tenant situations where a landlord now is saying, shit, I got to sell a property because I can't afford to pay the mortgage on this place. I can't service that. Well, the tenant's not paying me rent. In those situations, when the tenant can't get evicted, the reason I'm giggling is and I've say this
I say this to all the agents in my office. So I do the broker masterminds on Mondays, which was yesterday, right? And I do a video conference call with agents in our office. And basically it's like, what do you want to talk about? And if you don't have anything you want to talk about, I have my own agenda.
Sure.
The one we talked about yesterday was knowing the contract, knowing the purchase agreement, being able to navigate yourself through that in a sophisticated way where you can set that up through strategy to get what you want.
Sure.
Right? Because some of y'all walk in my office and go, hey, can I do blah, 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 blah? I'm like, I don't know. What's your contract say?
Yeah.
Go get your contract, read your contract. If you can't find the answer, you haul your happy butt and your contract back down to my office. We'll go through it together and we'll find the answer because the answer's always in there.
That's always me.
No, it's not, man. You are the least offender I've got. Believe me, I got ones that are way worse. But it came down to really understanding and knowing the contract and being able to play through that, right?
Yeah.
So, damn, this is the part about getting old. I forget where I was going with this.
Now you, this is CRS, can't remember shit syndrome.
Right. And dealing with the tenant, getting it released, knowing the marketplace. Ah, damn, I'm sorry. Man.
Here's where, okay, so I was essentially saying, I thought that coronavirus had affected the rental market most.
Yeah.
Because of these scenarios where somebody wants to get evicted.
I remember what I was going to say. Okay, there you go. So as long as you have not, look, you can't evict them. You cannot start an eviction process, but there are places and pieces within your contract with which you can give them notice.
Right.
Okay, if you have not served them a 3-day pay or quit.
Right.
Because if you do that and then you try to give them notice, that's not perceived well in the court system here. They go, no, that doesn't work, right? But if they haven't paid, but think of it this way: if you were somebody who's defaulting on and you can't afford to carry it because they're in it, nothing stops that owner from being able to sell that property. And under the terms of the agreement, most rental agreements, California Association of Realtors rental agreements, if you sell the property, it not only impacts, depending upon who you sold it to, the amount of time you need to give them notice, but you can give them notice and still make them move out. So you might not ever collect the money that they still owe you.
Yeah.
But if it saves your credit, right? If it puts the equity that you do have tied up in that property in your pocket, that may be some of the smartest stuff to do, because I can't guarantee, what are we? This is 2020. We're what?
7 years in the seller market?
9 years in a recovery. Even without COVID, the average cycle's 7. So we're already pushing the limits of having a bubble pop again for another adjustment.
Yeah.
It may make sense for you to get back out of it. And by the way, world, please do not call me about this. Call Justin.
Or call both of us, which I am more than okay with, because there's a reason I ask this guy questions. And so here's my question back to you, right? So if that's the case, which I know it is, if they go to sell such property because they can't afford to keep it, and the tenant's still in it, I mean, you can sell a property with the tenant in it.
Yes, you can.
Historically, what I found in the clients that I've worked with, because I've sold a couple tenant-occupied properties, it has been not only a tremendous pain in the ass to transfer the property, but at the end of the day, the person that's going to pay a seller the highest and best dollar and in terms for the property is always going to be somebody that's going to move into it.
Absolutely.
So what I'm trying to reconcile is if somebody wants to go and sell it tenant occupied because they're forced, I mean, not only does it take longer on average, because really you're just selling to landlords who right now, I mean, landlords may or may not be looking for property anyway, but also B, typically they're not going to get what they would normally get out of the market. So they may even be facing like a short sale situation. You never know. So
listen, counsel all of your clients to basically discover and find all the options. And they should really talk to you about that, because I know you know a lot of them about them. Yeah. And I also know that if you don't know the answer, you know where to go find the answer.
Across the table.
Nah. Well, I may be one of many sources. I'll refer back to your father again, by the way. Oh, don't ever sell that one short. Your dad's got contacts and information way beyond what I think you really recognize.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you for certain. Yeah. Well, your dad's an amazing man. Again.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Hey, Pete.
Love you, Dad.
So, yeah. I love you too, brother.